Ow! Cupcake! Gently. Just been knocked halfway across the kingdom, remember? Suppose I'm lucky that's all that happened to me, though. If you hadn't been there. Oh well. I don't even want to think about what would have happened if you hadn't been there. Those thieving scum calling themselves knights. I can only imagine what they would have done. I mean, I've always been lucky. Well, no. I haven't always been lucky. I've always had you there, haven't I? I've always been lucky to have you. Don't think I missed seeing how you fought. You were. Oh my. No. Suffice it to say, you were very impressive. Well, you sent that knight running. Oh my gosh, you were like a force of nature. Oh, please. Don't start being modest now. We've known each other too long. I can remember a time not so long ago when we were small. You couldn't even sheath that little wooden practice sword without leaving a bruise on your hip. But even then, you were so braggy about it. You like to lord it over me that you were a knight. You weren't a knight, but you... Well, I suppose maybe you already were, huh? You did used to stand up for me even then. But today, oh my goodness, you were magnificent. No. You are not going to get out of me singing your praises today. Oh, I have seen you fight before, of course, but this was different. This was like you were protecting something more than just me. That's what that was. Like you were protecting something very important. And I know you've made it very clear that you think I'm important. And thank you. I think you're important too. But I mean something bigger than just us. The kingdom and the sense of fair play and the sense of justice and our people. You know, when I first set out on this adventure, I really thought I had everything figured out. You know that. I thought I'd come out here, see a bit of hardship, do something heroic, and then return to the castle with stories to tell. But everything here has been harder than I imagined. And I don't mean braiding my hair or paying too much for apples. I mean, the suffering. Good God, the suffering. I keep coming back to it the way I never understood, never truly understood. And it's not just the bandits or the drought. It's the knights, my father's knights, abusing their power, taking advantage of the people they're supposed to protect when they're already so vulnerable. It's one thing when a drought is the problem, and I want to help my people, but when the people that we have sent out to help them and protect them and keep peace in the land, when those are the threats, how could I have been so blind to it? How could we have been so blind to it, all of us? It's worse than suffering, because it's suffering by betrayal. But now I know. And that night, the one who hit me, oh, he is going to answer for what he's done. When we return to the castle, I'm going to make sure he's brought to justice. I'll speak to my father. I'll expose everything. And not just because he hit me, because it could have been somebody more vulnerable. It could have been somebody he hit who didn't have recourse. In fact, I'm certain he has. He was far too quick to lay his hands on me. He felt like it was his right. He felt very safe that there would be no comeuppance, no justice, no penalty for his behavior. I can't wait to see the look on his face when he realizes how wrong he was. For all the women he must have knocked to the ground before. The women who didn't have a guard to protect them. The women who were already hungry and suffering to begin with. The women whose coins they took. The women those nights left with nothing. And not just the women. You saw it. This all started with an old man that they were trying to attack. An old man. Just walking along the road, trying to get home, minding his own business, doing nothing. Yes. I very well recall that not so long ago this level of indignation was reserved for gossips and people who spoke unkindly to each other. I suppose I have grown. Yeah. I suppose I have. Thank you for noticing. Oh, I don't know about that. I do not know about brave. I was pretty terrified. Okay, fine. If you can't be brave without being afraid, then I was very, very brave. I mean, seriously, when that night hit me, for a moment I thought, okay, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Maybe this was a whole big mistake, thinking I could be anything other than just a pampered princess. But then you were there to save me. Again. Yeah, no. I absolutely needed saving. Come on, seriously? I did not have a handle on what was going on right there. You saw it. You were the brave one. Or at least, okay, you were fearless then. And strong. Very impressively strong. And much as you keep saying, I don't need saving. And maybe I don't usually. I did this time. I really, really did. I needed it throughout this whole trip. I couldn't have done any of this without you, You've always been there, ever since we were little. You've always been my protector. You've always been my friend. And I've always wanted to be as brave as you are. Funny, I've kind of been thinking a lot about it lately. About what it means to be courageous. Standing up to people, standing up to knights, and facing danger. But that's courageous. But it wasn't terribly because I knew they weren't going to be able to hurt me too badly before you took care of it. But even if it were brave, there's still more than one kind of courage. And I've been wrestling with one. I've been cowardly when I needed to be brave. Well, you wouldn't have seen it because it's something, it's a type of courage that's quieter. But maybe even harder to muster. The kind of bravery that takes risks without knowing the outcome, where you can be hurt in ways that won't just fade like a bruise over the course of days or weeks. I think of all the things that I've done on this trip, the bravest thing I could do is tell you, I love you. I think I've loved you for longer than I even realized, and I've realized for a while now. And maybe it's just always been there, this feeling, but I didn't understand it until more recently. I'd begun to recognize it back in court, but here, away from all of that, away from the expectations and the roles to play and the schedules and everything that keeps us distracted, it's become so clear that it's always been there. I see it all now. I see you and I see us. And I don't know if you feel the same way, and I'm sorry if this is going to make things awkward, but I had to tell you. I had to be at least that brave. Brave enough to tell you how truly deeply in love I am with you. Not just love, that's too easy. I could say that I love you. Oh, I love you. You're my bud, you're my pal, you're my buddy, you're my friend. I love you, but no. I'm in love with you. I've loved you for as long as I can remember. And I've been in love with you for a long time. But I didn't think, I never thought you'd feel the same. I thought you just thought I was a silly princess and that you were meant for a world that was so much bigger than me. Oh, do you really? Oh. Well then, I'm glad that paid off and didn't go humiliatingly badly. What? No. No. Of course not. How could you think for a moment that our stations would keep us apart? You've always been more than my guard, Cupcake. You've always been more than that, and I don't care how many titles or how far back you can trace your bloodline. Who? No. My father adores you. He always has. Why do you think he made you my guard? He's always respected you, and your father before you. Your family may not have come from royals, but you've long been members of the peerage. You've long been gentlemen and ladies. And frankly, the only reason you don't have royal blood in you is because all of your ancestors marry for love as opposed to position. It's very stubborn of them. So of course my father and the court would accept it. And if they didn't, then I don't care. I don't care about the titles. I don't care about the court. I just want to be with you. I can't help having been born a princess. But that doesn't mean I would have to stay one if it meant choosing between you and the palace. Fortunately, we won't have to make that choice. No. No. I promise you, I know what my father would say. Because he and my mother have long hinted that you would make a very good husband one day. They wouldn't have pushed it. They wouldn't have forced you, but they certainly encouraged. I don't think it's coincidence you ended up as my guard. They also did it to make me happy. Because they know that you make me happy. So there's that. So, we won't have to fight. But I would, if I had to. I'd take them on one by one for you. Yeah, I know I'm a terrible liar and I'm a coward, so I would let you take them on one by one. But that's why you've got me, to orchestrate while you execute. Well, I suppose it will be nice going back to my father with more than just bad news about his knights. It's going to be nice to be able to bring him news of our, dare I say, betrothed? Well, I wasn't going to push the issue, but if you really want to, I suppose. I absolutely would. But for now, I think I need rest. We will have plenty of time to figure out everything after I've healed. Well, of course there's stuff to plan. We have to plan. We have to plan what we're going to wear. We're going to have to plan what we're going to say. When we sweep in and make our grand proclamation of evil in the land and wicked knights who must be brought to justice, and we make our accusations and bring them to trial, we have to look the part. And also, when we tell my father that we're going to be married. You know, I'm beginning to think that I may be stronger than I realized. And if I'm ever not, that's okay. Because whatever comes next, You'll be right there with me. Yeah, exactly. Stronger together. Mwah. Hey there, cupcakes. Thank you all so very much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed that story. But thank you always for your time and your attention, for all of your likes and your comments and your shares and your subscriptions. And also thank you to all of my new patrons. I went away for a day and a half and I came back to so many new patrons. There is Real Valentine and Davion Baker and Dr. Doom 699, Noah Benner, Tony, Lucid Sloth, Andrew Ramirez, Maverick Martin, and Potu Puppet. Okay, the reason that's funny, potus are these birds that you have to look up. Potoo. They kind of look like owls if owls forgot which direction their beaks are supposed to go. They're not related to owls. They just kind of look like them because they've got these giant forward-facing eyes and the beaks. But when they open their beaks as well, giant mouths. Like their faces will disappear behind their mouths. It's just they're just look them up. They're funny and weird and fabulous. Uh, Also, perhaps terrifying, depending on your perception of it. Anyway, welcome, and thank you all to my newest patrons. Also, thank you to Cody and Kiloa for being so kind to me on Throne. And special thanks always to my top tier patrons. There is Lucid Sloth, Noah Benner, Logan, Eerie Ghost, Nikki, Billy Harden, Loot Curator, Lemonic Cultist, Dan, Confused but Still Here, Bowman, Alton Goodbottle, Disbanded Crow, Techo, Amphizenus, Gunner's Mage, Mushan Gaming, Tomas Rogers, Your Skating Wolfie, now with 17% more smut. Actually, I think that also is a reference to I found like 5,000-year-old Egyptian romantic poetry that's kind of smutty. It's in fact not even kind of. It, and I shared it with my patrons. Um, Actually, no. I didn't send it to all of my patrons. I sent it to the people who had signed up at Spicy Tier and above because, you know, not the type of thing that it's polite to send to people who had not signed up for spicy content because consent matters. Okay. Anyway, we also have thank you very much to Benny99, Nosti, Barry Wilburn, Esteed, SLE Photo, Harper Evolution, Justin, Wolf9004, Miles Silo, Army Guy 007, Mr. Fabulous, Lou, Bunny, Tiny the Taxman, Meryl, Mr. Rickles, Anin, Darth Mythis, Red Death 48, Always Able, Vagar, Moon, Old Bean UK, Kulu Bear, The Swaggy Llama, Artlo, Pierce Tailish, and Christian Cleopatra.